Oh yeah, I just want to say I was so moved by the film. First of all, I think so much in all of us are exposed to all the negativity and all the bad things that are going on, and this film it felt empowering to me that what this one person could do and bring people together, and just the heart that he showed towards people. I was really moved by that. And I think we all need to be inspired by the good that's happening. And I loved so much how compassionate he was with homeless people, because that's another thing that bothers me when I see someone, and sometimes I, give them money, or sometimes I talk to them, and sometimes I'm a little frightened and I don't. But it's wonderful to 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 be inspired, and I feel inspired now to want to reach out more towards homeless people, because I know they're just people. They're just people having a hell of a hard time.
Well, I enjoyed this film. To say enjoy is a little ambiguous, meaning it's not a happy subject, but it's well done, and I'm most impressed by the obvious, earnest sincerity of both the maker of the film and Mohammed, the key person in the film who's helping this project get along. That's very impressive. Their demeanor, their speech, and even the way they talk. They don't talk very fast like this. They talk very measured, very thoughtfully, very pointedly, both of them. And that impressed me very much, as well as the subject of the film. And one other comment I would say, because other people raise this issue. Well, you're only helping a few people, or what's going to happen after the school is over. I say we need to both work to change the system which creates this kind of poverty and misery, and also help individuals as we encounter them in life, because we can't do it all. No one person can. It's obvious. So we have to do our part as we encounter people day by day, but we also have to allot time and energy and resources to change the system which creates this situation. This may be a never-ending task, but nevertheless, we need to do what we can do while we have a chance to do it.
I saw the film just a few minutes ago, and I was really moved by what this one man has done, not alone, because obviously so many people got involved and helped him, but he offered things in that community that, he said, we don't need the government to get him, that we should be doing this, but the government should be involved in this, I think. But he didn't wait for the government. And actually, though it talked about God, he didn't wait for God either. he went about doing something for people. He started feeding them, simple things like just bringing them food, and then he developed this whole community where all these services could be provided, and he got other people in the community with different organizations like Loaves and Fishes. And I'm going to look up that because I'm really interested in that. The thing is that he brought everybody together, and because he's so generous, he provided the spaces that these people could come together. And so it was something economical, because obviously he was giving them the space. And the other thing that I felt was really touching was how there's so many people that have died on the streets and so on, and his effort to memorialize them, I think, was really important and kind. One of the things that really touched me about this film was Mohana, that's his name, right? That he's from Iran, and our country has really painted Iranian government and the people, really. Otherwise, why should we be doing things where we're having sanctions against them and so on? It painted them in a way that they're shown in a poor light. And all through this film, we're watching this man do all these wonderful things, these kind things, dealing with people that most of us reject or don't want to be around or can't even stand to see, and want to get rid of. And somewhere along the line, after we've seen all the things he's done, brought food to these people, he's developed all these agencies to bring them together to help people to improve their lives. And we find out not only is he Iranian, but he's a Muslim. And I think it's wonderful because obviously those people of faith who want to follow Judaism or Christianity or Islam or whatever, those three faiths actually have origins that are the same. And many people misunder Muslims, and it's so sad, but this man shows what a good Muslim is.
I like seeing this film because it, I think, gives the message that each of us can do a little bit or even a lot, but it's the fact that we're doing something that really makes a difference. And coming together with like-minded people that want to make a difference is very fulfilling. And John made that very clear. That's been very fulfilling in his life. And I think others are going to find out that helping those in need is going to be a way of finding meaning and fulfillment in their lives.
So I just saw the Homeless to Homeowner movie for the first time about an hour ago. I was really impressed with it because it shows that people who want to help others are doing the best work possible. This is why we're here on Earth. And this individual ends up helping. He's a business owner, and he ended up helping so many people find assistance in getting a home, getting services, and being a benefit to society. The interesting thing is that it's individuals themselves who make the difference. I personally think that in addition to individuals pushing for help and changes, that we also have responsibility to put pressure on our elected officials. The government is us, is the people, and the government has all of our money to spend, and we have to make sure that our elected officials are doing what they can for homeless services and homeless people. One of the great tragedies in our country over the last decades has been deporting homeless people from cities and states, denying them benefits, and individuals have a big role in it, and so does government, our elected officials. We have to work together so it gets done. And the movie's beautiful. I hope that it gets shown all over because people need to know that yes, homeless people do want to be helped. They just need that kind of assistance, and then our community will be that much better.
Well, my name is Hans, and I was very happy to see this film, Homeless to Home, okay? And I guess the message I took from this film is that this issue of homelessness, it gets very, very little coverage in America. You don't hear anything about it in the mainstream news, the national news, the local news, and it's really irritates me that when I drive by Skid Row every once in a while, I see thousands of people down there living on the streets and living in tents. And it just disappoints me and makes me angry that the richest city, in the richest state, in the richest country, has this big, big problem, and no one wants to talk about it. And I'm very glad that this filmmaker is bringing up the issue, and I was very glad that it's getting attention.
Hi, my name is Greg. I live in Los Angeles County, and I've just seen the film Home for the Homeless. And I was deeply moved by the film. What I saw in the film was a strong message and action of compassion, and I feel that that's very necessary. My mother also has worked for 45 years. Her church joined other religious organizations, including temples and mosques and synagogues. And for 45 years in her community, she has worked to support the homeless. And after 45 years, they've touched an awful lot of lives and done a lot of good, but the issue of systemic homelessness still remains evident. So I think that this message of compassion, which is so strong in the film, has to be adopted by our entire society in order for there to be a significant change so that we can essentially permanently deal and erase the issue of homelessness as a systemic experience of individuals. And I look forward to seeing that happen. The film was wonderful.
Yeah, I thought the message was to have compassion for homeless people and to realize, and I actually do this, that by the grace of God go I. And so when I go to work, I could have a wreck and I wouldn't be able to work again. I could pile up medical bills. I could lose my home. My wife could leave me. I'm on the street. I just think we're all not that far away from their situation, and they're not that far away from building a life. You know, I think my son is a heroin addict and he's recovering, and so I had compassion for them and their addictions. And I see this happens so much. Once the addiction is out of the way, all this energy and when the support of the groups come and people just blossom. You know, the energy is just transformed into movement and excitement and the community. I just think it's so interesting that the community is so important. And that I know in our society, there's so many people that have money, but they're isolated. And I've thought, I mean, this is not exactly maybe his message, but I think it may be homeless people at times are happier than those that seem like they have substance and have really nice houses and so forth, but they're isolated. And that's one thing. It looked, because I saw communal living, and I saw people sharing, and I do think that about when I see homeless people, I see them coming together in Santa Monica. They're sharing food, and I say my experience. One thing I've noticed, like I spend time in Santa Monica every Sunday at this veterans event, and so I walk around the city, and if I'm standing next to a homeless person who's talking to themselves, I'll start talking to them. I'll say, "Hey, how you doing?" And they'll say, "Hey, good. How are you?" And then we'll just start talking. And they're not that far away. They're right there. They just happen to be thinking out loud. And then we have a conversation. Then I move on. They go back to talking to themselves. Then I have another thing I do with homeless is that, and I've thought, and I do this with my children. Someone will say, "Can I have some money?" And I used to give them $1, you know. And then I give them $2, and I thought, well, no, I want to give till I feel something. Because if I don't feel something, then it wasn't a meaningful experience for me. So I would give them $5, I would give them $10, sometimes I give them $20. So I have a business, and I'm actually doing pretty well. So one time, my son was with me, and a guy came in the window, and I gave him $20. And he started yelling and jumping up and down and dancing through the parking lot. He was just so excited that he had $20, you know. And I've done that where people will get the money and they'll just, not that I always give 20, usually I give 5, you know, somebody said, but it'll change their day. They'll get up and they'll take off, get something to eat. You can't do much with $1, but $5 you can have a nice breakfast, you know. It's not the most healthy food, you know, Jack in the Box or whatever, but yeah, it's when I was listening to the movie, I thought, oh, how can I help? Maybe how I can help more. And then Dennis Davis, I was very impressed with a guy reaching out to young women, you know. So it was a moving experience. It was a reminder to see. And I'm having this conversation with my neighbor today because I'm starting to work less because I'm 67 this year. So I was going, okay. I asked people my age, I go, what do you do? What do you do when you're not working? I mean, I'm worried about that. And he says, well, no, you gradually lessen your work and you increase your avocation. And my avocation, I was impressed. I thought, well, my avocation could be helping the homeless. You know, because I've been doing vet work. I'm in Veterans for Peace for many years, and I've helped veterans somewhat. You know, I try to stop war and stuff. But anyway, so I was motivated by it. I thought, yeah, that could be something I could somehow help feed people, you know.
One of the important things I thought about this film is that it identifies the importance of a relationship with people. And although we saw people graduating and maybe having homes, what we really saw was people reconnecting with a community and having relationships with human beings that empowers them, that supports them, and reminds us all that how important it is to have our own personal dignity and to be connected with other human beings. I like that it's moving forward and helping people determine their future and leave behind pain and work forward. I also think we need to remember where we all came from. We all came from families, and that focus of the family dynamic, the importance of caring for one another, of not just cutting people free if they have mental illness or behaviors that are outside of societal norms. We need to continue to provide safe places for people, because it doesn't take much before someone is suddenly on their own. Once we're disconnected from those who care, it's really hard to find someone else to care. So I love that it's moving forward, and it reminds me that we need to look backwards as well. And you know, they use the expression, a rising tide lifts all ships, and if each person can add a drop to the tide, we'll have an ocean that really lifts us all to be in the place we want to be. That's it.
Oh, sorry?
That's it.
Thank you. Great, that was awesome. Do you think you could say the last bit?
The
one
rising
more
tide?
time, just 'cause-
Yeah, let me see how to start
Yeah.
it. Okay. We have the expression, a rising tide lifts all ships. And when we think about what we can do as an individual, sometimes it doesn't seem like it might be much, but we see in this program, Mohana, one person has done so much. And if we each add our drop to the tide, all boats will rise, and that's what we're looking for. Thanks.